Welcome back everybody to another video. In this video, we are going to compare the Arcam AVR 550 with the Rotel RSP 1576 Mark IIs. This is the third and the last of the series where I compare my top processor against each other, and if I had to choose which one I would choose between the two. In the last video, we were comparing the 550 Arcam here with internal amp against the 390 with an external amp, and between the two I chose the 550, so that's why we're going to put the 550 against the RSP 1576 Mark IIs. So you guys know I'm unbiased, but if I had to choose which one I would choose between the two, keep in mind that both phenomenal. Both of these processor is what you need and what you want for sound performance, and quality is top notch. And we're gonna use the same amplifier for both of these, which is my Rotel model number RKB 8100, rated at 100 watts, all channels driven. Before I continue, let's quickly go over some quick specs and my rating system. So for the Arcam AVR 550, it has enhanced audio return channel, 4K at 60 Hz, 1080p at 120 Hz, Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, and of course its sound predecessors before that. It's 90 watts, all channels driven internally. It's 11.2 channel receiver with a full RCA pre-outs. The Rotel RSP 1576 Mark IIs, it's only a audio return channel. It's got 4K at 60 Hz, 1080p at 120 Hz. It's got Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, and of course its previous predecessors' sounds. It's a 11.2 dedicated processor with RCA pre-outs. Now for the standard rating system here, I'm gonna go over pretty quick here, but pretty much the pricing of these does not really reflect the actual price of the processor. It's more of the estimate where you have the processor with amp and kind of around the amount of money that you're going to be spending on this surround sound altogether. So for the first category here, it's less than good, under 1,000. At this price point, your speaker is not going to be in the high end range, so that's why this category is under 1,000. Next one up, it's good, under 3,000. Now, in this one, your speaker might have distortion when you run it in reference volume, and you're not going to have enough wattage power. Next one up from that is better, under 6,000. So yes, your speakers may be able to handle reference value, and you'll have enough power wattages, but for some reason you know that it has room for a better performance if need be. It's not going to be the end of be all, right? And the one after this is the best, under 8,000. So no distortion at reference volume, plenty of power wattages. The performance, it would be satisfactory, and it is the ideal home theater sound standard. And the one after this, it's beyond best. So anything more than $8,000, that includes a higher end speakers, higher end subs, higher end processor, more powerful amps. You're gonna have a dedicated home theater room with seatings, so you're gonna have so that room is gonna be bigger. So you're gonna have all these higher end equipment just to fill that space, and then your sound performance is gonna be more in lines of a commercial theater. For the Arcam 550 and the Rotel 1576, they both fall under the best category. Now, whichever one I choose between these two, I could you can even run it on the Beyond Best with a higher equipment. But if you just take between these two, whatever I choose, actually you can use that for Beyond Best for the processing power, and then upgrade everything else. Just on a side note. Now, the processing performance for both of these brand and model, they are the ideal sound and performance for the quality that you would look for in surround sound. Between the two, the 1576 Mark IIs, I find that it emphasizes the sound a tad bit more distinctly, and a little bit more powerful without being too bright. For instance, in Spider-Man No Way Home, for example, I should say, in Spider-Man No Way Home, the scene with Electro and Spider-Man in the forest when the power lines were out, the sound performance in that scene from the Mark IIs was just more powerfully distinct. Even though both processor will push your speakers to its limits when in reference volume, it's just for some reason the way the Rotel processes its sound, it like makes your speaker perform in a way that you otherwise wouldn't know existed. So there's sounds that comes out of there that I don't really notice from other processing. That's just the way I can describe that. And on top of that, just the way that the sound processing, how it just kind of, even though powerful, it just makes everything a little bit warm. That being said, for the Mark I's, it was a little bit more on the brighter side. But for the Mark II's, it had the same power, or a little more power now, but just more on the warmer side. So that's a plus for me. So yes, I choose between the two, the Rotel RSP1576 Mark II's. In my opinion, it's the best processor, but at least the best processor that I own for now. Unfortunately, I don't see nowhere in the future that the Rotel was gonna make any more processor. I hopefully they would make a Mark III's, like the AK version or something. However, the Arcam still makes new models. They have their 8K lineup. So if I were to buy another processor, I definitely would still buy the Arcam brand. So between the two, like I said, the Rotel RSP1576 Mark II's, even though it doesn't have enhanced audio return channel, I do prefer the way the sound processing of this processor, what it gives over the Arcam. And don't get me wrong, the Arcam is phenomenal. It is everything that you would want. It's just, for my taste, I just prefer that natural sounding of warmth that comes out of the Rotel, and the Arcam is more neutral. And depending on the speaker setup you have, even though it's neutral and it sounds great, it's just that the way the Rotel, something about it just makes it sound so great. It's very hard to describe. So that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. Like, subscribe, comment below. Any questions, any thoughts, keep it friendly. But That's my time. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hooded Dragons out.